Okay, so I finally decided to play a Roblox game. Now, the game that I chose is Tales of Tanario. And I chose this because obviously it's a monster taming game, and it's also the newest one that came out. To my surprise, there were things that I actually did like about the game, but there were plenty of things that I did not like about the game, like that glitch that you saw on the screen. Yes, that was a dog floating in midair. And these are the starters of the game. The rival's dad is the professor in this game, and the glitch has my face right in the dog's anus. But I'm going to ignore that. But I'm going to choose the dog anyway. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to choose the dog anyway. Or the dog might have chosen me, depending on how you look at it. The first match that I had to deal with was a match against my rival. Now, I thought this match was going to be easy, but it turns out the match was more challenging than I expected, because my attack power was not hitting as hard as I'd hoped. Then, on top of it, they were lowering my defense, so they were actually going to beat me first. So I decided to try to use some technical skill and lower their attack power enough to where I could probably come back with a W. Lucky enough for me, it actually did work. Yeah, because it worked by the skin of my teeth. Because the last move they did ended up being a status move, and I ended up winning just because of that on a technicality. I think you're actually supposed to lose this match, like more likely option. I think that's what it was supposed to be. I think the devs were expecting you to lose this match, but I still won. Not to say I'm some great player, I just managed to pick a right strategy, that's all. After I beat the rival, the first thing I started doing was trying to catch like Tanorio that I thought might be good, that I thought might actually evolve into like some stronger ones or helpful ones for beating the bosses in the game. Found out where the health center was, and I liked what they did to the health center animation. Thought that was a nice touch. I did like how they did that. Oh yeah, I found out that there was a horde. There was actually hordes very early on in the game. I would expect this to happen later in the game, but from the very first route, there's a horde, and I got attacked with a horde of five, which is really crazy to me. Then later on, I ended up seeing this caterpillar. Yeah, I ended up seeing this caterpillar Tanarian, and I was like, okay, if I remember anything from Gen 1, this caterpillar is probably going to come in handy. So I got that. Then later on, I ended up seeing another caterpillar, but this one was shiny, and it was actually glowing and sparkling like Super Saiyan 2 or something. And I was like, that's a really cool shiny effect. And the first thing I'm doing is like, let me try to catch this thing. I didn't know how high the catch rate was, but I was trying to catch it anyway because it was shiny. So I ended up catching it, and I was happy about that. I'm like, yep, definitely gonna show this off in the video. I caught a shiny one, wasn't even trying to. There are NPC battles, and the NPCs can see you from pretty far away. What you just saw was light work. I've had somebody clock me from a far away, and I didn't even know they were there. After that match, I ended up having my first evolution on screen, and it was one of the caterpillars because they evolve pretty early. Yeah, bugs tend to evolve early in these games. It turned into like this tombstone thing, which was weird. Its cocoon was like a tombstone. It was unique and different, and I like the fact that they went a different route than the usual. I also like how the stats are shown in Tales of Tanario. Everything is broken down into individual categories to where you have a better understanding of what's going on. I also found out that the game had a linear story because they had these derpy looking police come up to me and start talking about some suspicious activity happening at the museum. And so I was like, okay, so the game actually has a storyline. It's not just like some open world playing cat stuff. So I was like, that's good. That's good that it has a storyline so I can actually follow along with what's going on. So after I got through talking to the police, I ended up finding out where the market is, which is above the healing station. There's these guys that'll sell you Tano cans and potions and repels. So you can buy stuff over here at the market. And you can also buy in bundles. So they have bundles of 10, bundles of 1, and I believe the far left is going to be bundles of hundreds, which I did not have any type of money like that. There's a glitch that makes you fall on your face whenever you leave some of these buildings. That was a really annoying glitch. Then this cutscene is about this guy who's stealing something from the museum, and so you have to hunt him down and find him later on. He was running decently fast for the animation. I don't know how to describe it. Like I think that's the regular Roblox run. Like I'm doing right there. That's probably how fast he was running. And so, oh, this next part is I had to find the guy. I had no idea where he was hiding, and I also didn't read very carefully. But I learned that in this game you definitely need to read. So I'm showing you on the screen right now where you're actually supposed to find him. So yeah, if you were to rewind from when I first entered this building, this is going to show you how to find that guy after he runs off from the museum, the thief, because that's an important quest that you have to find him. I was running aimlessly before I found him. Then when I finally did find him, it was time to battle him. because that's what we do in games like this. We battle thieves. So he sends out two of his monsters, which makes it a double battle. So I end up having a double battle of my own with him. One of my monsters evolves, and I don't think this is, yeah, this is not the shiny one that evolves. The first tombstone caterpillar thing, that one evolves. The first one I caught because it was already at a higher level. And then later on, the other one evolves. So you can see the first design right here. You can see what that looks like. And then now the shiny one is going to evolve. And whenever the shiny one evolves, you can see how the color difference is dramatically different, which I thought is really good compared to like how Pokemon, sometimes the shiny looks pretty much the same. Over here, I was surprised at how much detail went into building this museum. Whoever designed this museum for the game, they actually took the time to piece everything together to make it look like a real museum. I was really impressed with this because I was like, not only did they make it look like a normal museum, they also added in Tales of Tanario lore and monsters and gemstones and stuff like that. They went through the trouble of doing all of this to make it seem as believable as possible to put you in this fictional world. And I was like, wow, that was actually impressive for a Roblox game. There was even cutscenes. And I forgot to mention that there is actual voice acting in some parts of this game. There's also like a cheesy song at the beginning of the game, like it's pretty cringy, to be honest. The opening song is kind of cringy, but that's probably because I'm not a small child. But anyway, so yeah. After this, I ended up meeting up with that guy who stole something, but now he's trying to make amends for it. He wants to be friends, and he wants to also get me to not call the police on him. So that happens. He moves out the way. He lets us through. I end up battling some more people, and my starter evolves, and this is what it turns into: Aquazal. Don't really care too much for that design. I'm showing some other monsters in the game, Stagurai. I noticed that some of the monsters in this game are actually really good. If you've never looked at the monsters for Tales of Tanario, some of the monster designs are really awesome. I was pleasantly surprised with this. This is definitely one of the pros I can say about this game. Took me forever, but I finally found out where the PCs were. And then after that, it took me a little while to figure out that I had to click and drag to move them around so I can switch in and switch out monsters from the PC. That took me some time to figure out too. Made sure my team had a bunch of different typings to give me some balance. I eventually found my way to like the boss of the game. I was trying to figure out where to talk to the boss of the game, where to go. So I ended up going in this back room over here because I was like, okay, it's probably over here in this back room. That's probably where I have to go and be. Sure enough, when I go down here, a cutscene opens up and some lady pops out and is like, "Hey, we've got some fresh meat over here." And I'm like, "Who said that?" You know, the usual RPG stuff. So she comes out and she starts talking to me, and then she lets me know that I have to go against three people before I can challenge the boss. And I'm like, okay, that's fine with me because I have Mangso, however you pronounce that name, and Mangso is super broken. This is probably the most broken monster that I've ever played with in any monster taming game. Mangso is extremely broken because whenever it hits, it's supposed to hit again but not do that much damage the second time. But the second time it does damage is almost the same as the first. So it's kind of like an extra free hit every turn. So the second person I fight is like I think bug and something else. So I'm just doing like a normal attack headbutt to knock it out. And Mangso hits pretty hard, so I wasn't really worried. The funniest part was the last person I ended up fighting, they have like a normal type. Perlazy is normal type. So all I have to do is hit it with like a head smash, his like fighting type attack, and that pretty much almost took it out. I thought it was a knockout, but then I ended up finding out Perlazy still had like one health left. So I just went back and used like a headbutt to finish it off. Then it was out. And then I could move on to the final boss, which I was wondering if the final boss was going to be really challenging or not, but the final boss did not end up being that challenging at all, which makes sense. It's the first boss of the game. I shouldn't expect it to be too challenging. The only time I faced a first boss in a game that was super challenging was probably Koromon and Temtem. Those two games, the first boss was actually surprisingly challenging for a first boss. So for this, let's see. Oh, I ended up going with a screech attack to lower its defense, and then I followed up with a headbutt, I believe. Yeah, I followed up with a headbutt to knock it out. Yeah, the headbutt took care of her first monster. Then after that, they sent out their Mangso, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna have this back and forth. I'm glad I got that bird, which I mentioned before. I'm glad I got the bird on my team because, like I said, they tend to come in handy, right? So I got the bird, and I used his flying type attack, which took out a huge chunk of its health, but then I was able to do it again. And The flying type attack that this bird has is pretty cool because it boosts your attack if you hit first. Then they sent out this dino something, I can't remember the name of it, but it was this really cool beetle, but it's bug fighting, so I was able to one-shot it. That was her ace monster, and I took it out in one hit, which was really awesome. No, the game also gives you badges, like traditional Pokemon badges, but they call it medals in this game. Lastly, the final thing I was able to do is I was able to see the traveling world map. So I was able to look on the map. I still don't know what these color codes are, the whole blue and red thing. I don't know what these color codes even mean, but I was able to see the map on the game. This is my video of Tales of Tanario. If you guys want to see anything like this in the future, or you'd like me to change up how I present something like this, just let me know in the comments and I'll probably do my best to work on that.
If you enjoyed watching this video, be sure to subscribe and like and share. Find out what happens next time on the OFC.